So, in general, what is your choreographical work about? I mean, which is the main issue of your choreographical work?
That's a very big question.
Yeah, in general, in a few words.
There is no general, because each of my work explore a certain a question, and the question is not always the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult to say in general that my work is about.
Mm-hmm.
There are probably some subjects that come and are always a little bit here and there, but it's not possible to say in general my work is about. I have a concern in what and how movement are produced, and what this movement that are produced continue to produce. That's something I'm very engaged in through the work, but it is very, very general. Maybe you could say that's one thing that is in all the work. I'm also very attentive in how, what kind of relationship the work construct with between the spectator and the performer. So that's something, but it's not really what it is about. In a way, from my point of view, the work cannot not be about this. Like when you place, for example, this work that I do here in a space of exhibition space is about the conventions of the visual space. Doesn't mean that the work is only about this, but so that is something that is transversal maybe in my work.
And with time, do you experiment an evolution or something like that, or?
Yes, there are transformation. Of course, when you start to do work, very often what happens is that you produce question for another work. So there is a transformation and evolution of this, and maybe what I can observe is that more and more my works have been more interested in working on a situation, producing a situation or working in a situation, which here is, for example, the situation of the exhibition space, which is a different kind of the situation of the theater. And I would say that more and more my work is, or I'm curious in making this situation the work. So not only if we take the theater, that you would say, okay, the work is how the dancer move and sing and etc. But I tend to see more the work is how they are together with the spectator, and how the whole building is actually acting on the way we exchange.
Do you consider your artistic work closer to dance or to performance?
Neither or. For me, dance is including what I do, and performance is excluding what I do. And I should throw you back the question: what do you mean by performance and what do you mean by dance? Because apparently there is an understanding that we have to share in order for me to be able to say I'm close to dance. Which dance, which performance? And so it's not. These terms are very, very delicate to manipulate, because they bring with them a lot of misunderstanding. Is moving without music something that is understood as dance? For some people, not at all. For some other people, of course. So in the history of dance, we have a different thing we can relate to. And performance is the same. When you say performance, do you use it as an opposition to something that would not be dance? Because dance is performance. So I'm not really in the need of saying if it's close to dance or close to performance, and I cannot answer this question. But what I can say is that I'm generally interested in producing something which is at the border of being different things. When I do, for example, this piece which is called the Sacre du Printemps, the Rite of Spring, this music has been done for dance. So of course when you use this music, there is a whole thing in our culture that associates this music for dance. As I perform it, using movement of a conductor and saying this is going to be the choreography of this dance, and I produce, like I was saying before, this situation of a conductor in front of spectators that are potentially virtual musicians, so they don't have the instruments, but they are in a position as if they would be the musician. The theater is transformed in a situation that is actually more close to a situation of a concert than to a situation of a theater. But it is both. So this construction of the situation produce something that can be interpreted or perceived this way or that way. So is this piece more dance? Is this piece more music? Is this piece more performance? I don't know, and I'm not so interested in defining it, but I'm more interested in using this border to produce something for the visitor, for the spectator, that will make them perceive and understand things in another way.
I think that your artistic work in general can be defined as a subversion of the archetypes of a theatrical function, or, I mean, you normally change the role of the spectator, and for instance, in this exhibition, there are not a concrete time. The place is not well defined, so it can be, in general, your leitmotif or so.
Yeah, but it's how you just said exactly this, that there is something that is changed, but at the same time, the visitor or the spectator are not asked to do something else than they usually do. Here they are walking in the spaces of the museum, and they look and hear and see what different things that they maybe are used to or expect to, but it's this transformation, or when to take again the example I just talked about with the Rite of Spring, the spectators sit and they look and listen like a theater, like that's what you do in theater. Only that the whole organization around this maybe produce a shift in this position, or how you experience, and that's maybe one of another interest that go through my work, that I understand by doing. It's not that I had a project to do this, but I understand that I'm very interested in producing an experience for the visitor or the spectator, including thinking, feeling things, challenging how one hears, one sees. So that's, and all things that construct an experience, which is always framed in the time. And that's for me the interesting thing here in an exhibition space, where the experience, as we know it, or we go through as a human being, has to be framed in the time. You cannot speak about an experience without defining when it happens, when it starts, when it ends. Mm-hmm. And that's what is good with the theater, is that you work there, you do this, there is a beginning and there is an end. Here, it's how the work is done. There is a lot of beginning and a lot of end, and it always continue. Mm-hmm. So the potential for many experiences for the visitor.
And why do you want to question the rules of the typical exhibition here in La Fundació Tàpies?
Why do I want to question?
Yeah.
I would say we could put it on the other way around. It's the rule of the exhibition space, such as this one at the Fundació Tàpies, that question me.
Yeah?
Yes, because normally I would not do a work in this set of conventions. Uh-huh. So it's as much this that question me than me questioning that. It's not as a proposal from Laurence was made like that I come to work here. Uh-huh. I didn't come. It's not something that pre-exists in myself, in the sense of I need to question the rule of the foundation. But as I am asked to work here, proposed more, then starts a series of questions, which become somehow the work, or what produced the work.
And I think that maybe these elements, like the videos or the costumes or the typical stage, or maybe the concrete time or the duration of an exhibition, maybe these elements are a barrier to the pure experience, and without these elements in this exhibition, the public can better have a pure experience.
I don't know myself if there is something like a pure experience,
or pure or better.
But it's
or a complete experience.
It's a different kind, and I think you're totally correct to point this. But maybe let's put it in words. It's a different kind of experience. For example, people that come here and see dancers dancing like this distance to like 1 meter. This is obviously going to produce a different kind of experience than watching the same dance on the stage, only because the distance is transformed. So there are all these little parameters that are there that will suggest a different kind of experience. And how the exhibition is constructed, the performer have different mode of addressing the visitors. That involve the distance of the space, how they are in the space, but also how they are engaged in the time. So doing one thing that continues for all the time you are present, or doing something that you repeat all the time you are present, or developing a story all the time you are present, is already proposing different kinds of experience. But for sure, this is already very different than experiences that you can provide